What's going on, guys? This is the DeFi Crypto Alliance show where we're doing our best to be the bridge between our fellow real estate investors and entrepreneurs alike and the cryptocurrency world, where we feel like cryptocurrency is the biggest opportunity over the next few years, and it's not even close. So, welcome along. We've got an excellent guest on the show today, which will be a lot of fun. But first, Corey, take it away.
Yes. Can you guys hear me okay? Am I all right over
Audio
here?
good, video bad.
All right. So I'm trying to switch my Wi-Fi as we're speaking. But yeah, man, we're super excited today. We are always talking about how we're going to use crypto as that wealth creation tool and real estate as a wealth preservation tool. And some of the tools that we're using in crypto has been absolutely amazing. Some of the guys that we've been on our show are building in the PulseChain ecosystem, basically grabbing the ecosystem by the horns, pulling us through the mud. I feel like the builders were the reason why, we are coming out of this bear market. It's the reason why people came over to PulseChain. Now, obviously, there's the meme community, there's all that debate, and that's just whatever. But for big money to come and participate in this ecosystem, we need massive tools like Phame, Fiat, the PHUX protocol, and man, Dylan, the Phame traders are winning right now on those longs. What is going on with that? The PHLP token, is it not getting hammered? Is that how this works?
Yeah, so luckily, since we're making so many in fees, the PHLP guys are still doing okay, right? They didn't make a double in the last week, but they're doing pretty well, right? I think there's some guys that are sitting in 6 figures of profit right now. Some traders, some guys that went long at the bottom with some size, and they're sitting in. Let me look here. Let's see here. Traders.
That's wild.
Yeah, top P&L holders. I think there's 2 guys with over $100,000 in profit right now, and they're at the top of the leaderboard, of course, right? But yeah, lately, since it's really easy to go, leverage long. Yeah, so the top guy is in $142,000 in profit. Second guy is in $86,000 of profit. And these are open positions. So, they open these up. If they leave them open for a long time, they're paying fees constantly, right? So they're going to contribute to a higher hourly rate, which also goes, helps into the PHLP pool. But I think the headline here is, yes, people are using Phame. They're really enjoying this product market fit, clearly, right? And the pools are pretty much maxed out constantly, right? People are complaining that there just isn't enough liquidity to go long or short sometimes. So it's great because the fee generation that's been happening has pretty much canceled out these P&L guys. That has been closed, right? So I think overall the traders have won $600,000, right, in wins, and with the fee generation stuff and the price appreciation of the coins themselves, PHLP is doing pretty good. It pretty much levels out, right? However, when the market reverses, you may see the opposite start to happen, right? And PHLP guys will probably do really, really well, right? As we see with GMX, there's ebbs and flows. GMX launched in the bear, so the traders lost lots of money. And then, as the market starts to recover, the traders start to win again. We may be in that situation now. But obviously, crabbing markets and down markets, PHLP guys will probably win all the time, right? But with this increased volatility, we've literally been performing extremely well. I think in the top 5, cash flow DeFi protocols, I think we're in the top 5 guys. This past 2 days, we were. I think 2 days ago we were at $34,000 in fees in one day, right? And then yesterday we did $44,000 in fees. And so I think Uniswap averages $200,000 in fees a day, right? So we were doing really good.
It was almost 46K in fees.
Okay, there you go, $46,000 in fees yesterday. So
very nice.
It's pretty good. That sounds like product market fit to me, gentlemen. I don't know about you, but
hey, we're here for it, man. We are here for it. Corey's saying that the trader's been winning. Let's go look. Yes, you see Traders Net P&L here. They've crushed it over the last handful of days.
Yeah.
So shout out to those guys. Good for those guys.
And it was the longs. You know what I mean? Anybody who was long on any of the RH stuff, man.
Oh yeah, I mean, dude, if you're long, and we double, like, go out of it, bro.
Yeah, yeah. You have a 30x leverage on a 10x, or a 30x leverage on a double long. Like right there, you killed it.
Exactly.
Killed it. It's so yeah. Wow,
yep,
man. Wow.
Open interest is staying at all-time highs, basically.
Yeah.
Constantly. We're getting new users every day. I think we're doing really well, honestly. And it's really nice to have some life, fucking injected back into PulseChain. Jesus Christ.
I know. I think the longs are going to continue winning here for the next day or two. I mean, obviously we'll have a pullback. You will always get pullbacks, but I mean, sentiment today. I'm looking at the deck screen right now. Everything's green. Everything's green. Like everything's pumping again. It's insanity.
It's hard to find good entry points when it's like this. Yeah.
I live my life in a rule where if I feel good, I need to sell something because that's not natural. I'm not supposed to feel that way. So I de-risk.
Now,
that's actually an interesting point.
Caveat to that though, Dylan. Like, I agree with you. Anytime in the bear market, if you start feeling good about anything, you should probably de-risk. But when you're going into a full-blown bull, there's going to be times where you're going to feel good for a month, maybe 2 months, maybe 4 months long. When you're in a full-blown bull and we got a lot of retail coming in and you get that adoption coming in, you're going to feel good for a little while. So be careful during that time. I'm guessing, right? You got more experience than me too. You obviously have more experience. But, yeah, so I know. I couldn't sleep last night, Dylan, because I was feeling so good.
That's when you sell.
And I did sell something last night. Me and Dana have been talking about some stuff in the background, and I was like, and it wasn't for me. It wasn't the RH stuff, and I was like, you know what? I'm feeling way too good. Yeah, let's sell something and convert into something else. And I did that last night at like 1 a.m. I'm like, I can't sleep. I got to get to sleep. So I went and sold, and then I was able to sleep.
Yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah, so I think going up 55% in a day, that's probably a sign to skim a little bit. I didn't sell much. I skimmed a little bit, right? I have a lot of exposure, so I feel happy when I can trim my waist a little bit. I did that the other day. I do hope that it keeps going up. I hope I didn't sell the top. I don't want that to happen. But I do think that, maybe we go sideways.
It don't matter if you did or not. You have enough exposure where you're okay.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm probably going to start opening up shorts to just hedge myself against the downward movement so I can kind of keep feeling good. Right.
Can you walk through? I would love your insight on that. So when I wish we could do like, I don't want to talk about your portfolio, but like maybe percentage. So like so maybe let's talk about like if you have Hex, let's say my Hex portfolio is worth 100 grand. Let's just use simple math. All right. And this is like, I'm not telling you guys what my portfolio is worth, and I'm not telling you guys to do anything. You guys go sell your bags. I don't care. Right.
Literally, like, Corey's is worth
not financial advice.
100K exactly right now. So someone go do the chain analysis. Let's find his wallets.
Yeah, let's just say it's worth 100K for easy math. Like, what kind of short? What would you do? Like, what? I go in there, open a short on Hex. Would I open it up with like 10K with no leverage, or maybe a leverage 2 or leverage 3, or would I open like 1K with like a 30x leverage? How would you recommend to offset that risk? I'm thinking there's some downside coming. How would you play that?
Well, how much insurance do you want, man? Do you want to cover your whole house? Do you want to have partial PPP or whatever?
Well, I don't think we're going to zero, but we could see maybe a 50% retracement back, maybe, right?
So,
what if we retrace 50?
Yeah, so I mean, do you want to pay a higher premium or do you want cheap insurance? Like, what do you want? That's a personal question.
Ideally, you want cheap insurance. Ideally, you want to pay less and get more. That's always the.
Hold on, bros. Can you hear me? My mic is acting up.
Yeah,
You're back. You're good.
I can hear you.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you want to pay a higher premium, you can get more coverage, right? Okay. Or I'm speaking insurance terms here, but if you want cheap insurance, you're not going to get a lot of coverage, right?
No.
It works the same way with leverage, right? So if you don't want to get liquidated, and you want to protect yourself, maybe you can open up a 10x short or something, right? But you're gonna to pay for more of your position. You're gonna have to front more capital, right? Obviously, if you open up a high leverage short, you're exposed to the risk of price movement. Okay, but that's the insurance premium that you're paying on that position, right? So if you use, let's say, 1% of your portfolio on a 30x, then you're covered 30% of your position right there, right? And then if the downside, if we do retrace instead of a 50% move, I think the math comes out to be like 35%. It would be to you, I suppose. I think this is napkin stuff, right? I'm not the smartest zoomer in the
Right.
world, but roughly. Okay. But yeah, I mean, so depends on what you want to do, right? And so let's say the market starts to move in your favor in a substantial way, right? You can remove a bunch of that collateral. You can open up to a 50x position, right? So then you can remove your risk out of your position of that short, and then you can keep that cash, right? And then you can still have that whole position size with less collateral.
Makes sense.
And as the market continues to move down, you're still protected or whatever. So, but go ahead.
I was going to say somebody should make a nice sloth, a nice like 20, 30 slide pitch deck with a lot of good examples of using leverage as like an insurance type policy and how like we could like I said, if you want to do like a lot of premium or that would be great. I'm a visual person. And so if I could see a lot of things on a slide deck, it really makes it make sense to my head and I can comprehend it. And so, because I think these tools, if we do a little bit more education on the actual how to use leverage as insurance, because this is where I think that's smart investing. And I think if we do a little bit more education to the community, we might be able to get a lot more usage inside the protocol.
There you go.
And and there's Sloth. He LOL'd, so he's watching. Thank God, because Sloth does a really good job. He does a really good job for me at simplifying stuff that's like overly complicated, like this. And I mean that's how I got so involved in the Hedron Icosa stuff, and he's doing a great job of combining the pH stuff together as far as passive income and making it really simplified. And so if there was a good explanation from very high risk to very low risk and how to use leverage as an insurance policy, I think that'd be great.
Roger that, yeah. That's a great idea for me to make a video. I can do that as well alongside Crypto Sloth. Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
you guys have your own channel now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pH education. Good luck finding it though, because the SEO is really fucked. But anyways, so it's really a personal question, right? Whether or not how much of your position do you want to cover? How much do you want to hedge? That's a really personal question. Okay. And I don't have all the answers. I don't know your situation. You need to figure it out on your own, right? But generally speaking, the tools are there. Get your feet wet, go try it out, go play with it, right? I opened my first short up the other day because I was trading because there was a whale that came across the bridge. I bought before him. I wanted to squeeze him and sell after him. I broke even on that trade, but I opened up a short before I sold and I made money, right? You can do things like this. Obviously, I was just swing trading. But use these tools to your advantage, right? They're really useful, and if you have size, they can really be fun. Okay, I
Mm-hmm.
promise they can be really fun when you have size. And right now, there is a lot of people that are taking advantage of this stuff. So if you're not doing it yet, what are you doing? Like, what are you using on PulseChain right now? Are you just buying stuff? Like, go use leverage, man. Go see what it's like. It's really easy to make money.
Responsibly, guys.
Yeah,
Responsibly.
of course. It's really easy to make money in a bull. Okay, I'll tell you that. Now, I don't think that this. With that being said, I don't think that this move is. Maybe it's overextended right now. Let me pull up. Let's see what we're looking at here.
Yeah, sure. In fact, share your screen. Let's kind of walk through what your thoughts are. One of the good questions. Now, of course, we can't, nobody here can tell you to buy or sell. You've got to make those decisions for yourself. But I think it's good. Allison's, asking. I think it's good to walk through like a thought process and how someone could frame the events currently to see, how you could think for your own portfolio to position yourself better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well said.
So this is what I'm looking at.
Yeah, that's a pretty good move. That's a pretty big move right there.
It is. And let's see. Let's look at Hex. This is my favorite pair. Okay.
Coming right out of that bottom. I love it, man. I don't care if it retraces or not. I love how we shot out right at that bottom.
Well, it's nice to see life, right? Like I think
Gorgeous.
it's easy to question, like, are you in the right place? We have the SEC FUD, like, is everything really going to work to our benefit? And then you see moves like this, and it's like, thank you. Confirmation.
Yeah, it's confirmation. You're like, you know what? I'm good. I'm sure glad I moved to Puerto Rico now.
Yeah, I heard there was a couple guys in Puerto Rico that wanted to move back because they're like, fuck this shit, man. I'm not making any money. I gotta leave. But hopefully they're not leaving, they're staying. So, cheers to those guys.
I was fortunate enough where like I'm good at making money in the real world too. I don't need to like rely 100% on crypto, though I got a lot of chips on the table, don't get me wrong, but I'm good at making money in the real world, and Puerto Rico offers you the ability to only pay a 4% flat tax on the money you make in the real world too, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's really attractive, man. That is like,
it's really attractive. Yeah. I can live on a tropical island and not pay taxes. What the hell am I doing? I do that earlier. Like, what?
Yeah.
All right. I digress. Go on.
Yeah. So as you can see, Hex is the shining star, as predicted. It's doing really, really well.
Props to Dylan. Dylan's been saying that the whole time. We've had discussions where we disagreed, but this pump, if this is an indicator of what's to come.
Yeah. So last time I saw Corey and Dane, I was telling them, guys, Hex is gonna be the one. Guys,
it's true. Right there.
Yeah. I remember having a Telegram late night discussion, and I was kind of arguing back and forth with Dylan. And I was like, man, what about Pulse though, bro? Like, I mean, we all favor where our biggest bags are at, and of course, my bag's bigger in Pulse. I'll gladly admit it. But I do have bags of Hex. Like I got some good bags of Hex. I got no problem with my bags of Hex. But it does. I do believe now some of my future DCAs, and in fact, my last DCA after I came back from Florida with you, Dylan, I did buy some P Hex. Should have bought E Hex, I guess, but who would have known? But I bought some P Hex, and then my future DCAs, I will put a little bit more in. Weighted towards the P Hex side versus to Pulse. So good insight. Very good insight, Dylan.
Yeah, and all my thought process here was okay. So let me break down the arguments against buying Hex. Right. So the first argument was Pulse is the first cycle coin. I think that's horseshit. That doesn't matter. I think that Hex is undervalued. In terms of first cycle.
I'll agree with that part.
Okay.
I don't agree with the first part. I agree the first cycle will play in the narrative when the bull run comes, but I definitely agree Hex is fucking way undervalued, like just tremendously undervalued. So I will agree with that.
What do you mean though? Like, what do you mean when you say undervalued? Because right now, what does it say the market cap of Hex is? It's kind of small, so I'm having a hard time reading it. There, what does it say?
Market cap of Hex
So
right now.
we need to go to what was the website called?
10
GoPulse.
billion?
GoPulse. GoPulse.com. Right. Let's go look at GoPulse. Let's see. What is the market cap of Hex?
I think
to me, Dane, undervalued is 99% down, and no coin goes 99% down. To me, that's undervalued.
I agree.
Pulse is only.
I think a lot of people throw around the ideas of like overvalued and undervalued, and it could be a little bit subjective. Like, what does that actually mean when you say that? And I'm curious from Dylan's perspective.
That's a great question. Okay, so I think that if you look at Pulse, okay, you see $1.1 billion for user-owned supply, and then you see Hex at $1.5 billion user-owned supply, right? Approximately. Okay. However, Pulse doesn't have time locking. Okay.
And really quick, Dylan, just point to those metrics. We can see them, but just for the viewers when you're looking at that. So 1.1 billion Pulse, and you have this toggle for you guys that may not be familiar with this website. You can toggle it to include the OA or exclude it. Dylan's excluding the OA, so we can just see user on the supply right now.
Yep, there you go. So I made it bigger for you guys so you can see
the
Pulse, right? That's what we're looking at. User owned supply, market cap, 1.1 billion. That just means where the website is assuming that everybody that's sacrificed in the volume bonus phase of the PulseChain sacrifice is a real user, right? And then after that bonus phase ended, there was a bunch of OA sacks that happened, and they were in the hundreds of millions of Hex, and it ended up being billions of dollars. Okay, so we're not counting that. We're counting user-owned supply, right? Now with Hex, it's a little more nuanced. We really don't have a complete grasp of the amount of Hex that users have, but we have a rough idea, kind of. Okay, so if we're basing it off of this website, take it with a grain of salt. But this is kind of a rough-edged, look into what's going on, right? So with that being said, you see that Pulse has $1.1 billion market cap, and for all those who think that market cap doesn't matter, it does. Okay, because now market cap matters to kind of get a gauge on what's going on, but liquidity matters for what you can actually get for your money or get for your coins. Okay. As far as if you're a big guy and you only got $10 million of liquidity, well, obviously all you can get is $10 million, even though you're worth $100 million, right? So there's a lot of paper on these numbers, but we're gonna take these at face value here. So, all right. So Pulse has $1.1 billion, right? A market cap, user-owned supply. Hex has 1.5. Okay. Now, I look at this and I think, okay, Hex is the store value of PulseChain. It has time locking to where you can lock it up over a decade. It has liquidity is tied to Pulse. The amount, the Hex that was sacrificed, which was a majority of the Hex, or billions of Hex was sacrificed for PulseChain during that sacrifice. And all of that Hex is still able to be bought back at multiples of what was sacrificed. Okay. That means you bought Pulse for one.
You muted, Dylan.
Yep. You bought Pulse for, I think it was $1 worth of Hex for, or one Hex for 2,000 Pulse, right? That was approximately like the average guy. That's what they were getting, right? And right now you can get Pulse with Hex for, 200 Pulse for one Hex, right? So there's a big price difference there. That means you're able to buy much more Hex than you were than if you sacrificed, right? So there's that. And Pulse doesn't have any time locking like Hex does. Okay, which means that the supply can come on the market very, very quickly if things get overbloated, right? Hex, you can't do that. You have to be liquid at the time, or you have to go to Phame and short it, right? And that doesn't even move the price, right? When you're shorting on Phame, it doesn't move the price. So, those things alone, I think, will cause Hex to be the dark horse of the chain. I think Hex will be the best performer out of the RH assets. That's where I have all my money, right? I've had that since the beginning. Basically, I sold all my Pulse. I don't have any Pulse. I just have like a couple million here, a couple million there, and a bunch of
For
different
gas.
wallets for gas. Yeah, just like ETH, right? Hold like $7,000 in ETH just in wallets for gas, right?
Right.
So yeah, that's my thought process. I stand pretty firmly with that. There could be instances where some coins outperform others in the medium term, but I just think that the sweetheart will rise, and I think it's Hex. I think that's my bet. That's what I think. So, and obviously the chart speaks for itself. It's literally the best looking chart on PulseChain regarding the RH coins, right? If we just go look at it,
right, by a pretty large margin too.
Yeah. Let's see if I switch here. Yep. Yeah. So, the SEC dip, right? We've completely retraced that pretty much. Completely retraced that with Hex. Whereas with Pulse, I don't think we have
Not quite
yet. Yeah.
Yeah, we're very close though. We are very close. It's like 10% or something like away. Maybe it's a little more than 10%. Yeah.
I think it's maybe 50%. 42.
42%. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's my thought process. That's my hypothesis, my thesis. So I still think that we're going to keep performing this way. What's great is if you're buying Hex, you're pumping Pulse anyways, right? Just because of the way the liquidity is tied. So what's good for Hex is good for everything.
Yeah.
Across the chain.
And vice versa, right?
Yeah.
So.
And yeah, man, that's my conviction. I stand firmly strong with that. So I'm happy with my Hex position.
That's interesting. And like you said, the charts are playing out, and this is an indicator over the last week or so of what's to come. Spot on. So yeah, we're excited to see.
Yeah, and I'd say keep an eye on the bridge. When that slows down, we'll probably have a pullback. That's just my thought process.
What kind of pullback do you think? A 50% retracement, 30%? What do you? You have no idea. No idea on that one. Yeah, it's always hard to. I really feel like definitely not going to go back to where we were. Now we're out of the bottom. We're out of the weeds, if you will. For the most part, but I want to be kind of interested to know what kind of pullback we end up getting. Yeah, I agree with you. We're going to get a pullback. Nothing just goes up forever.
No, and I'll tell you, this. I would say that this bottom here is. I'm more comfortable with this than say, this bottom, right? Or like this. I just going up for a week straight. And just straight up, like 25% candles in a row. It's not natural. I don't like it. And I always scoff at that. Whereas, we had a couple of green days, then it started getting a little bit bigger and a little bit bigger. And then the ball was rolling, right? And we kind of had that rounding going up. We're actually going parabolic on the log chart, which is probably not a good sign, but it looks really great, right? And we all feel really well. But
this is the euphoria that you're gonna sell, right? It's like it was funny. Dylan, speaking of euphoria, a real quick story. I was having lunch with somebody here in Puerto Rico. I won't dox him, and he's one of your buddies too. And he was talking about how he was euphoric shortly after the Pulse X. It was after the launch. He sold because he got up in the middle of the night.
Oh yeah, I heard that story too.
He was euphoric in the middle of the night, dude. So he's like, you know what? I'm gonna sell.
I gotta sell this shit.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not supposed to feel this good.
Yeah, I fucking love that guy. Yeah, I heard that story too.
Yeah. In fact, that's probably a good indicator in general. It's funny how your emotions betray you in the markets. When you're feeling good, it's probably time to consider taking chips off the table, and when you're feeling awful, it's probably time to consider, buying. Yeah.
Yep.
In fact, what were you guys? Did you guys? So Axis is here. Shout out to Axis. He was on a stream yesterday with some of the guys where they were talking with one of the Hex wells. He's the guy that's buying eHex pretty heavily, and I want to get your guys' take. I'm very much I don't know if this is PTSD from Rackham telling everyone at 20 cents, hey, like get your bags ready because I'm gonna send this to $1 or whatever it was, just nonsense, and he's dumping on everybody. I got the same vibes here, where I was like, oh, this feels like downside incoming. Uh, what were your guys' thoughts? Do you have any additional thoughts to that?
Yeah. So I don't trust him. I do not. Nope. That's not what you do when you're trying to make an entrance into a market, unless you want exit liquidity, in my opinion. Okay.
Mm.
I just don't see it as I see it as predatory. So I
Yep.
could be wrong, right?
Trying to get
But
everyone to FOMO and buy his bags now.
yeah, so he was buying really quietly for a while, and then he got caught, and then he made it a really showy, moving the market sort of thing, right? And then he went really public and was like, "Hey, it's me, I'm the guy," right? Um, and oh yeah, I love
Which
Hex. Yeah,
makes
stake
no
all the
sense.
Hex, guys.
If I was that guy, there's no way in hell I'd be doing that. Like that's
I mean,
crazy to me.
it's just
But what is your intention? And that's the question, kind of like Dylan's alluding to here. You would do
Yeah.
that if you were potentially looking for exit liquidity.
yeah. So
Or I should say, someone with a questionable moral compass may do such a thing.
It's a
Right.
good way to put it.
Now, a lot
yeah,
of these
so
guys, in the chats, seemed young. Red Squirrel said he didn't seem like the sharpest tool in the shed.
He
Yeah,
seemed like to
I
me
mean,
he was using like an AI voice over.
hmm,
It didn't sound. I don't know.
I
yeah. I don't
mean,
know. Just be careful out there, guys. Just be
Mm-hmm.
careful. A lot of the time when these guys are trying to pump things up, they're not looking out for you and I. They're looking out for themselves. And so I think it's just wise to be cautious when it comes to how you're building your positions. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
his
mean,
friends. Where's
I
his
mean,
friend?
you can talk a big game, right?
yeah.
I
I
got
got
my
friends.
billionaire buddy in the back here, guys. He's gonna start buying Hex. Make sure you buy it right now before my buddy gets in.
Yeah, we've heard that story.
Mhm.
Oh my God, we've heard that.
I mean, Richard told
I
us that.
literally,
Richard used to say the
Dylan,
same thing.
I was literally in the PulseChain chat room the day I was at the park with my daughter. That's how I remember it so well. When Rackham came in there and was talking about, I think Hex at the time was like around, I don't know, 12 cents, 15 cents. I can't remember. And he was talking about how he was going to start buying it by the millions and it was going to shoot it over past its all-time high, well over the 56 cents mark. Everyone in the chat, dude, got all like, oh my God. And it was like probably 150 people in there. And then come to find that he was exiting shortly afterwards. I mean, I recall like yesterday, man.
I lack some sophistication, but I was in there too at the time. And I remember just thinking like something about this doesn't feel right, So I left it alone. I stayed. Yeah, I wasn't buying at that price range. And I think it's interesting how I think a lot of the time our instincts are, and you guys, in fact, if you guys are different, I'd love to know it. Post in the comments or you guys here on the show too. I feel like my instincts are oftentimes accurate and right, but I'll outthink them because I can make a narrative in my mind for just about anything that I want to believe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So let's look at a whale that was actually really good. Okay. We can use God Whale as an example, right? He bought a shitload of Hex and then he staked it for a decade. Okay. And that shows conviction. The price kept going up, right? This guy has bought a lot of Hex. He's been really quiet about it. And then he's being really flashy. He's coming out in public. He's telling you guys, oh, yeah, all my buddies are going to buy. We're in this pump group, this and that. Oh, yeah, I love Hex. I love T-shares. Oh, I watched all of your videos in the last week, Matty Allen.
I saw that.
Okay. All right, buddy. Yeah, sure you did. And then, oh yeah, I staked a little bit. Oh, I love the free money. Like your actions speak louder than your words, my friend. Okay. If you wanted to show conviction, you easily could by, staking your Hex. Okay. that would ease my mind a little bit. But no, I don't. Nope.
Let's take it
Doesn't
for a
sit right with me.
year, 6 months. You don't got to stake it 10 years.
And it's not like this is not like a peer pressure thing. It's just like just generally stating, hey, look, listen, your actions don't say that. Like you're very convicted, right? You're all liquid. You're being very flashy. You're showing the signs of you want to pump it and get the fuck out, right? You want to make some quick money, which is fine. Be my guest, do your thing. But I don't know, man. Just
but it's the way that you're trying to accomplish it. If that's your agenda, that's filthy as could be. Yeah.
So nope, don't touch it. Don't trust it. Just that's my thought process. So
what, Dylan, what are your thoughts on? I think this is interesting, and you're seeing more narratives about like arbing the two hexes. Because they're, because now that they've come pretty, or at least at one point they were pretty close 1-to-1 there. People are feeling more bullish on just arbing it because it's the same thing. What are your thoughts on that?
That's bullshit. There's nothing to arb. I don't understand what that means. It's not the same asset. You can't arb it, right? Unless there's a difference of the same asset on a different liquidity pair, then you can arb something. But it's two different assets. You can't arb it, that doesn't make any sense.
I think a lot of people make the mistake of the idea that just because Hex exists on PulseChain and Hex exists on Ethereum, that they're the same and that you can go back and forth. And the code's the same. Community is, arguably similar, but two different assets. I think it's important to point out.
Yeah. I think you guys can have fun speculating on which one you like more. That's great, right? You can have fun playing that game. I like p-hex. Some people like both. Some people only like e-hex, right? The guys that have been telling you to buy e-hex, they've done pretty well the past week. Okay. But I'm happy with my p-hex, right? It's doing really well. It's got the best chart on PulseChain right now, so I'm happy with that in RH coins. Yeah, like there's no ARB, guys. Like, come on, get that out of your head, please. Makes no sense. It's like that's like going to a person that makes an airplane and then telling them how to do their job or something like, or telling them how aerodynamics works or something like this, right? Or going to a doctor's office and telling them that your herbal supplements are the cure for your disease and not not this surgery or this treatment that they're going to provide you, right? It's like, it doesn't make sense, right? You look really stupid when you do that. So don't do that. Learn what you're saying, please. It's not accurate. You're not arbing anything. So.
And the point is that equilibrium between the two on Ethereum and PulseChain, that there's no guarantee that they'll be 1-to-1 or that they're automatically going to come back or the prices will balance. And there's risk involved depending upon how you position yourself and what you believe in. That's the point.
Yeah, it's speculation, right?
All this.
Yeah,
speculation.
Yeah, so e-hex is pretty liquid on ETH right now, so it's really easy to move, which can be also inversely true, right? It can go up really fast, it can go down really fast, and we've seen that, right? It almost went to 1-to-1, and then it went back down to 40% off, okay, from 1-to-1, right? And I think now it's still sitting there, or maybe it went up today, I don't know, but it's fairly liquid, right? If you wanted to see that liquidity stay there, you could see bids behind the spot price, and then probably the liquidity would stay in a reasonable level, or the price would stay at a reasonable level, right? But when we're in e-liquid zone, the price is pretty much fake, right? Like the other day, you could sell like 50K hex, you can move the price like 1%, 2%, right? That is not a real price. That is a very illiquid price, So just keep that in mind when you're trading, right? And when you're trading in size, like that guy the other day, he bought 100K, right? It pushed the price up 18%.
Mm-hmm.
It's not smart, man. Why would you do that? Like 18% on.
It's good
it's
margin.
a lot of slippage, dude.
Yeah,
like
it's a lot.
I buy 100. Yeah, I buy 100K and I push the price. I get 2% slippage on PulseChain. I move the price 4% or something like this. 18%. That's a big pill to swallow. So very liquid.
Agreed. No, I think it's a fair take. So you guys, we're just guys talking on the internet. Some of you agree in the comments, some of you disagree. Do your own due diligence.
Yeah. Call me an asshole.
Whatever you want to buy.
Call me an asshole. I don't give a shit.
So Dylan, what are you looking forward to over the next year or so? Kind of speculate with us. We don't need specific price predictions or things of that nature, but what do you think will come of the PH ecosystem? What do you think will come of PulseChain? What are some things you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I'm excited for the liquidity on the chain to grow. Right, when the liquidity grows, then we can have some pretty ridiculously high positions open on Famous. We can have guys taking out mortgages perhaps on fiat.io, right? Like I've secured my position on fiat. I can open up a line of credit around almost 100K now. Like I can take that loan out against my assets on there. I haven't done that yet, right? But maybe I will. Maybe you'll see a Twitter post one day where I buy a sports car on loans. We'll see. But yeah, I mean,
you muted again.
When the liquidity grows and becomes more flush on the chain, we're all going to be really happy. We're going to be able to do a lot of things that we can do right now, but we can't do it in enormous size. I mean, the chain isn't extremely large at the moment, just value-wise, but when it gets there and the going gets really good, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. When you have over $10 million in open positions on Phame, or you have $20 million being lent out on fiat, right? Those are some pretty big numbers. Okay. And those are maxing that out. That's probably a really, really cool problem to have, right? Oh my God, all of these people are going short or long, and I can't open up a position because there's no liquidity. And yet there's $10 million in open positions, right? That's nuts. It's a big number, right? That's competing with the top echelon GMX stuff, right? That's some top tier shit, right? We are going to be making moves across the entire DeFi space if our chain is doing that stuff, right? These green candles are amazing, and they will bring the liquidity over, and the DeFi will kind of fucking grab you by the balls and keep you here. So that's what I think. But yeah, excited for that stuff.
Do you have any thoughts? Some of the guys on Twitter are talking about, I think it's called a left or right translated cycle, where you could see Bitcoin all-time highs even before the halving. Some are saying as soon as this year. What are your thoughts in general on the idea of the cycle being different, or cycles in general this time being different? What are your thoughts there?
Well, I mean, if we get a left translated cycle, that should be bearish, right? We shouldn't perform very well. So I'd rather take the longer pays better, right? Right translated cycle, that'd be great. Maybe we're getting this little pump here on crypto. Kind of seems a little illiquid to me. Like a little bit of liquidity is being injected into the market, and nobody wants to sell because everybody that's in, they're in for the long haul, I think. So obviously there's going to be people that sell, but I'm talking like in size, right? People are letting it run. Whereas I think that we could see a situation where maybe we have that over looming recession risk that we're, I don't know if it's going to happen, but I kind of have a feeling that something like that may happen just because of commercial real estate. Maybe, the war, don't know what's going to happen there. Having a little final capitulation to kind of wash everything out, maybe a higher low, and then we're off to the races, baby. New all-time highs. But I have no idea what's going to happen, right? That'd be nice.
It's an interesting thought process because, if the S&P 500 rolls over completely and really starts to crash, you know, how does everything else hold up? Even heard Buck talk about this, where he's in the camp, Buck's in the camp of he believes crypto cycles revolve around the S&P 500 and not the Bitcoin halving. That it's just a narrative that kind of lines up. And so I tend to believe at least some of it to be true, that, you know, it's where's the liquidity going to come from? You know, unemployment rate is shooting through the roof and businesses are going under and the S&P 500 rolls over, unless people are really start to treat crypto as a safe haven. I don't know if you saw Larry Fink. He talked about like the narrative, like he said, crypto is no longer a store of value. It's a run to safe haven or something like that. It's a run to safety. Yeah, it's a run to safety. So maybe that decouples us. I don't know, but things to think through and think about.
Yeah, so I think that's a great point. Maybe China could be an indication, right? If China is max bidding right now, because they're going through some shit over on their economy. They're really, you know, they're getting stuck up the ass right now. And so if they're max bidding and they're running to safety per se, maybe there is some indication there that if we have the same thing happen in America, we could kind of see the same thing, perhaps. I think it doesn't quite make sense to go risk on when you're, you know, when you're losing your house. But I don't know if that's happening in China. Why wouldn't it happen here in America? I don't, you know, who knows? But
the only thing I can think of, Dylan, is like the risk on for crypto would be because maybe like all the banks are starting to collapse. Maybe the dollar is losing its footing as far as the world currency is concerned. I can see that kind of like.
I'd want to buy guns in that situation. I don't know about you, but
you're gonna want to buy. Yeah, you want to buy guns too, right? I mean that, but that is, it's kind of like that is kind of the scenario I see in my head, where like if we were going to a recessionary environment with that kind of being the leading cause of it, where crypto maybe would be a run to safety on how Larry Fink called it, right? I don't know, right? I'm speculating. It's all
we've never seen this before, so maybe
never seen it, right? We've never seen it. Yeah, interesting.
It is hard to put your mind to where the masses' mind will be, I think. So I don't know.
Want to go the opposite.
Well, I mean, if the mass is buying a lot of Bitcoin, obviously Bitcoin's going to go up really high. So
sure. I get what you're saying. Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. So I think enjoy the pump while it lasts. Hopefully it continues to pump. Looking like we're rolling over here until some more liquidity is being injected. I'm looking here at Pulse or the Hex chart right now. Obviously it's only been, 3 days of sideways movement. Sideways meaning, we're up 5% a day instead of going up 55%. Anyways. But yeah, so it depends on, I think, watch the bridge, right? If that slows down, maybe we retrace. How deep we retrace, I have no idea. So I don't know. Position yourself. Yeah, I've de-risked. I'm ready. If there's a significant retrace, I'll buy back in. If not, I like my cash. So one in the hand is worth two in the bush, as far as I'm concerned. So
yeah, that's a good point. Cool, guys. Well, this has been fun today. Is there anything else you guys want to hit on before we kind of wrap up?
For me, for the show, we're not going to be here tomorrow and Friday. We will be in Florida, Orlando, at a real estate conference and trying to onboard more real estate guys into our ecosystem.
Onboarding the masses like Chad.
Yes, sir. So that should be fun. We'll be back next week for a couple days, I think, and then we're back out on the road again one more time. I think we're going to Vegas. I can't remember the date. We have a real estate conference in Vegas we got to go to, and then I think that might be the last one. Might be our last one for the remainder of the year.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. So it should be fun. Dylan will be there with us onboarding the masses. Gary will be at the boat show onboarding as well. So if you guys,
I don't know if he's onboarding anything, but he sure loves to talk shit about me onboarding people. I'll tell you that.
So if you're, if you're near Orlando, like Corey said, we'll be there over the next few days. This week,
come say hi.
So yeah, feel free to reach out. We'd love to connect. And with that, we hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Enjoy the pump, and we'll catch you. Oh, let's see. When's the next whale watching stream? LOL. Oh yeah. Cool guys. We'll catch you next week.